All right, folks, welcome back to another episode. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of communication etiquette, or as I like to call it, the art of conversation. It's amusing how the words we choose can literally shift the entire atmosphere. Like one time, I was in a meeting and I made the comment, "This idea might be a little off." Instead of saying, "This is a terrible idea," you can probably imagine how vastly different the reactions were.
Wow, that's such a cool perspective. So it's just like in that one episode of that show where the main character misunderstood something and it blew up into this chaotic mess. Was the reaction really intense?
Exactly. Misunderstandings can really spiral out of control. Picture it like a game of telephone. One person hears something slightly different, and by the time it gets to the end, the message has transformed completely. When we say things like, "I could totally be wrong," it really invites others to share their own thoughts.
Yeah. So it's like giving them permission to disagree without feeling defensive. I wonder if that's why people get so tense during conversations. Have you ever found yourself just freezing up in a situation where you're bumping heads with someone who won't budge?
Oh, absolutely. I was once in this intense debate over a project at work. Both of us were convinced we had the most brilliant idea, and instead of engaging in constructive dialogue, we just clashed like titans. It wasn't until someone finally suggested, "Let's rephrase what we're each saying to clarify," that we made real progress.
Right. I can totally relate to that. So, that's a technique then? Rephrasing? How can you do it though without sounding, insincere? Sometimes it feels like I'm just parroting what they want to hear.
Great question. The key is to blend your own genuine perspective with their thoughts. You might say, "I see you're really passionate about this, and I understand you believe it's better because..." And then share your point. It's respectful and shows you're actively listening. When I did that, it felt like the walls just came crashing down.
Oh wow, I love that. It's like being a translator of emotions. But, what happens if the other person is just totally not receptive at all? Like, they're stuck in their own world?
That occurs more often than we'd like to admit. In those situations, patience is absolutely key. I like to think of it like trying to untangle a mess of string. You have to be gentle, yank too hard, and you risk tightening the whole knot. I once had a friend going through a tough time who refused to talk. I just sat with her quietly, without any pressure, and eventually, she opened up when she felt ready.
That's deep. So it's about crafting a safe space? Do you feel like body language plays a part too? Like, could it be that a fidgety person is anxious instead of uninterested?
Absolutely. Body language is a massive component of communication. Those anxious gestures can so often be misunderstood, suggesting someone is disengaged when they're actually super wound up. Just think about how in our digital age we often depend on text or chat, where all those cues get lost. It's wild.
Wow, I never considered it like that. It's almost like we're lost in translation all over again. So how do we improve our conversation skills?
The best way to get better is simple. Practice. Start with small interactions, like chatting with someone at the grocery store or catching up with a neighbor. Good conversations are kind of like good workouts. The more you train at it, the stronger you get.
Yes, it's like building muscle. The more you lift, the easier it gets, right? So last week, I tried to strike up a conversation with this librarian, hoping to get a book recommendation. And by the end of our talk, we were discussing the universe. How do I steer the conversation back on track?
That's just how it goes sometimes. People love to share. Try asking specific questions to guide the conversation, and remember, it's totally okay to wrap things up when you feel like it's drifting. Kindness is always the key.
Kindness. I can definitely get on board with that. I feel like I need to keep that in mind for my next chat, maybe even throw in a compliment. Thank you. This has really opened my eyes.
Absolutely. Remember, kindness and genuine attention lead to meaningful connections, so go out there and keep those conversations flowing.
You got it! I can't wait to try this out in real life. Thank you for all the tips. Laughs.